Amidst the clamor of the modern world, countless mysteries still lie buried beneath the dust of time, waiting to be uncovered. These may be the ruins of a once glorious city, now swallowed by dense jungle, a desolate castle perched atop rugged cliffs, or age-old legends of hidden treasure. Each story holds a unique allure, sparking endless curiosity and passion in generations of explorers eager to find the answers. So fasten your seatbelt as we dive into today's mystery. But first, you'll have incredible luck if you like, and subscribe before this video ends. The Voinage Manuscript. In the world of unsolved mysteries, the Voinage Manuscript has always held a uniquely special place. This book first appeared in the 15th century, and to this day it remains a subject of fascination and frustration for generations of scholars, researchers, and lovers of the mysterious. Unlike any ancient book ever known, the Voinage Manuscript is filled with pages written in a script completely unfamiliar to modern readers. Interspersed among the lines are bizarre illustrations, from strange plants to incomprehensible astrological symbols, and even images of naked women in mysterious settings. Each time a page is turned, the viewer feels as if they are entering another world, where all rules are reversed, and no one can be certain of the true meaning behind what they see. The book was once owned by many famous figures throughout history, from powerful emperors to renowned collectors known for their eccentric interests. The first to rediscover the manuscript in modern times was Wilfrid Voynich, a Polish rare book dealer. He found it in an ancient castle near Rome, and ever since, the name Voynich has been inseparable from this enigma. Before that, the manuscript was believed to have been part of the collection of Emperor Rudolf II of the Holy Roman Empire, a man notorious for his fascination with the strange and supernatural. Through the centuries, the book has not only been a historical artifact but has also become a symbol of curiosity and the human desire to unlock ancient secrets. Countless efforts have been devoted to deciphering this mysterious book, from classical scholars and the world's top cryptographers to experts in linguistics. No one has truly succeeded. William Friedman, who once helped the Allies break coded messages during World War II, also admitted defeat when confronted with the Voynich Manuscript's strange writing. Some theories suggest it is a language never before seen, or an elaborate cipher meant to protect secrets about ancient medicine, particularly concerning women's health in the Middle Ages. Others argue that the whole thing is an elaborate hoax targeting wealthy but gullible collectors. Today, even though no one has yet unraveled the secrets of the Voynich Manuscript, its allure remains undiminished. Thanks to modern technology, digital copies of the book have been widely shared online, giving anyone in the world the chance to explore and try their luck. Whether you are an expert or just a fan of unsolved mysteries, anyone can lose themselves in the maze of characters and drawings of the Voynich Manuscript, continuing the journey to uncover the true meaning behind the strangest book in human history. The Lost City. Hidden deep within the jungles of Colombia's Sierra Nevada, Ciudad Perdida stands as one of history's oldest and most enigmatic mysteries. Built around the year 800, centuries before Machu Picchu, it was once the thriving heart of the ancient Tairona civilization. Moss-covered stone steps, circular plazas carved from rock, and the faint outlines of ancient houses all serve as reminders of a glorious past that still seems to echo in every corner. Each step into Ciudad Perdida is like moving further away from the modern world, allowing visitors to hear the silent stories this place has preserved for centuries. Outsiders have long called Ciudad Perdida the Lost City, but for indigenous communities such as the Wiwa and the Kogi, this is sacred land, never abandoned by their ancestors. Through the years, these people kept the city's existence a closely guarded secret, refusing to let outsiders near it in order to protect their heritage from destruction. It was only in the 1970s, when modern archaeologists arrived, that Ciudad Perdida truly appeared on the world map. Even then, the locals gently explained that the city had never truly been forgotten. It was simply that outsiders had not shown the patience or persistence needed to reach it. The journey to Ciudad Perdida is a test of endurance and resolve. To get there, you must trek nearly 30 miles through dense, rugged jungle. The path sometimes leads through deep streams, sometimes along narrow, steep mountain trails. Every section of the journey is an adventure of its own, demanding perseverance and a strong spirit. As you rest beneath the ancient trees, you begin to realize just how far you've left the noise of the outside world behind. All that remains are the rustling of leaves and the distant echoes of the ancient Tyrona civilization. When you finally reach the heart of the city, you are met with winding stone stairways, ancient bridges, drainage systems, and weathered stone walls, structures that have withstood the test of time. The thatched roofs of long ago may be gone, but traces of ancient engineering and adaptation are still visible in every stone and every flowing stream. This place is more than a relic of the past. It is a symbol of the enduring spirit and unbroken connection to their roots that define the indigenous people of the region. Ciudad Perdida is not a destination for the masses, but a well-earned reward for those brave and determined enough to venture into the sacred and unforgiving jungle. Here, you can reach out and touch a piece of history that once seemed lost forever beneath the earth. Each journey is a return to something original, a place where past and present blend together in the sound of the wind through the trees and the endless silence of nature. The ghost city of Zakiku, amid the parched lands of Iraq, where the sun scorches the earth and desert winds sweep across empty plains, there is a story that for generations existed almost entirely in legend. The ghost city of Zakiku, a kind of Atlantis at the heart of the Middle East. Once the bustling center of the mighty Mitanni Empire more than 3,000 years ago, this city suddenly rose again from the depths of a lake, revealed by a severe drought that caused the water to recede and expose ancient ruins beneath layers of mud and waves. When the water level in Lake Mosul dropped unexpectedly, archaeologists were stunned by the sight of a city they thought had vanished forever. Towering defensive walls, solid watchtowers, and vast storage buildings gradually emerged, as if time itself had only just paused here. The structures still stood strong in defiance of countless disasters, carrying the memory of Mitanni's golden age, an empire that once ruled over much of Mesopotamia, with a complex political system and connections reaching as far as Egypt. Most remarkable of all, the archaeological team discovered nearly 100 intact, unfired clay tablets scattered among the ruined rooms. This was a priceless archive that could open a doorway to the ancient world, promising to reveal details never before known about daily life and the courtly secrets of the lost city. Researchers now wait anxiously for each new translation, hoping the tablets will help fill in the many gaps that still exist in our picture of history. Although the excavation was brief, cut short when the lake waters quickly rose again and swallowed the ruins once more, the legacy of Zakiku has left both archaeologists and mystery lovers around the world deeply moved. Each time the water recedes, this ghost city slowly comes back to life in the desert sunlight, reminding us that history's greatest secrets sometimes wait silently for the right moment to emerge, only to slip away again into endless silence. It is more than just an archaeological miracle. It stands as proof of the enduring power of human memory, surviving every test of nature and time. The burning city of giants. Deep in the arid deserts of eastern Iran, the dark ruins of Shah-e-Sukhteh, also known as the Burning City, silently tell the story of an ancient civilization that was once among the most dazzling and mysterious in human history. This was not just a crossroads for trade routes linking east and west, but also a center of culture, science, and art that was far ahead of its time. Evidence shows that even 5,000 years ago, people here already practiced cranial surgery and created artificial eyes from precious stones, achievements that would take other civilizations millennia to reach. The city was laid out with careful planning, featuring residential areas, commercial districts, burial grounds, and even advanced irrigation works. It reflected a deep understanding of nature as well as remarkable adaptability. But Shah-e-Sukhteh also endured a tragic fate. No less than twice, this city was consumed by massive fires, only to be rebuilt by its resilient people on the ashes left behind. Each time the city was reborn, its history was rewritten, with new layers of memory and pain accumulating with each resurrection. Yet what makes Shah-e-Sukhteh even more mysterious is not just its material legacy, but also the astonishing discoveries unearthed during archaeological excavations. Among countless ancient graves, scientists have found human skeletons of extraordinary size, some remains believed to be over 5 meters tall. This discovery has led people everywhere to wonder, was this city once home to the giants of Iranian legend? Those figures who, until now, existed only in tales told around the fire at night. Researchers still cannot determine why so many oversized skeletons have been found here. It might be the result of genetic mutations, or perhaps just legends that have grown more elaborate over time. Yet no one can deny the mysterious allure of the burning city of giants. It stands as a doorway to the past, where unanswered secrets still lie quietly beneath layers of ash and the sands of the desert. The mysterious Bridgewater Triangle. Situated between the cities of Providence, Boston, and Plymouth, there lies a region whose stories have been whispered from one generation to the next. This is the Bridgewater Triangle, a name that calls to mind the legendary Bermuda Triangle out at sea. Since the 1970s, researchers and those fascinated by the supernatural have spoken again and again about this area as a center of the unexplained. On this land, countless strange events have taken place that modern science still cannot explain. Massive rocks like Dighton, sitting in the middle of the forest, bear ancient markings that no one can interpret, symbols that seem to be remnants of a culture wiped away by time. The vast swamps here have also become part of local legend, rumored to have swallowed countless people who dared to venture too far into the darkness. Locals tell of foggy nights when the whole area feels blanketed in an eerie atmosphere, where restless spirits still drift between the old trees. And that's only the beginning. There are numerous stories about bizarre creatures seen in the triangle, from the mysterious Bigfoot to giant figures in the sky that witnesses claim resembled prehistoric pterosaurs. Some even insist they have seen a massive creature spread its wings in the mist, an encounter that left them haunted for years. The truth is, to this day, no one knows for sure what really happens within the strange boundaries of the Bridgewater Triangle. Even as science continues to advance, many mysteries still hang as thick as the fog that settles over the land. Some believe this region was cursed long ago by Native Americans, with lingering spirits leaving an indelible mark. Others think it's simply a chain of odd coincidences stretching across centuries. But whatever the reason may be, Bridgewater has firmly held its place as one of the most mysterious places in America, a place where every retold story sparks a fresh sense of curiosity and a subtle shiver when pondering all that remains unsolved. The Cave of Death. Hidden deep underground near Madrid, there is a place that sends chills down the spine of anyone who hears about it. The Cave of Death, where time seems almost frozen and the memories of ancient predators that once ruled the earth millions of years ago are kept intact. When archaeologists began excavating, they discovered more than 18,000 fossilized remains, the overwhelming majority belonging to prehistoric carnivores. In the cold and silent darkness, the razor-sharp fangs of saber-toothed tigers, the massive skulls of ancient hyena ancestors, and even traces of prehistoric bear dogs, ancient leopards, and long-lost red foxes seem to be waiting, ready to tell the story of a brutal natural trap. What is most strange about this place is the near-total absence of herbivores. It is almost entirely a collection of cold-blooded hunters. The fossils show no signs of being shattered, dragged, or washed in, suggesting these creatures were not carried into the cave by water or some natural disaster. Instead, they entered on their own and never found a way out. Scientists have searched for answers to this mystery, and the most convincing theory centers on desperation during periods of famine. During harsh times, as climates changed and food sources vanished, packs of predators were driven to search for any sliver of hope to survive. The Cave of Death, with its narrow and deep entrance, must have emitted an irresistible lure. But once inside that cold, shadowy darkness, every possible escape route seemed to vanish. The first animals in perished, and their bodies became bait that drew even more desperate predators, creating a vicious cycle that lasted for thousands of years. In the end, even the strongest hunters fell victim to their own survival instincts. Today, the thick sediment inside the cave preserves not only the bones, but the full tragic story of a chaotic age. Each fossil is a fragment of memory from the relentless struggle between nature and its creatures. The Cave of Death stands as more than just an important archaeological site. It is a haunting reminder of the fragility of life and how the instinct to survive can sometimes lead straight to extinction. The City of the Dead. Amid the lush valleys of southern Mexico, beginning in the 6th century BC, a brilliant civilization quietly rose and left an indelible mark on history. These were the Zapotec people, the builders of the magnificent Monte Alban, and, no less mysterious, the city of Mitla. Mitla was not just a center of religion and power. The ancients revered it as the gateway between the world of the living and the realm of the dead. Here, the souls of the most important figures, chieftains and members of the elite, were buried, in the belief that they would be closer to the next world, the place all souls must pass after leaving this life. To this day, traces of Mitla's once sacred aura are scattered throughout the archaeological site. Visitors see broad earthen mounds and silent courtyards, where the afternoon sun seems to cast a golden, mystical glow over every stone. At the city's heart, the Yop Temple still stands tall amid broken ruins, a silent witness to a golden age long gone. Time and history have laid a dusty veil over this place, only making what remains seem even more enduring. After the Spanish arrived, they built grand churches directly on top of these ancient sacred foundations, a way to assert their dominance and impose a new faith on a land long steeped in ancient beliefs. And yet, through the generations, Mitla has managed to keep its secrets well hidden. The true meaning behind its rituals, the intentions and methods behind its unique structures, all remain open questions for archaeologists. Every stone, every wall, seems to hold a whisper from the past, waiting for someone patient enough to unravel the mysteries still buried in the earth of Oaxaca. And it is precisely this that has made Mitla one of Mexico's most fascinating ancient cities, a place where everyone who visits finds themselves asking, where is the true boundary between the world of the living and the darkness that lies beyond the gate? The Secrets of London Bridge. In the heart of historic London, spanning the gentle flow of the Thames, London Bridge stands as an inseparable part of England's history. Few realize that right at this very spot, thousands of years ago, the Romans first laid the stones to build a bridge connecting both banks of the river. Over the centuries, through upheaval and change, London Bridge has not only served as a vital artery of transportation, but has also witnessed countless transformations and upheavals along with the city itself. Yet what truly makes this bridge remarkable is not just its architecture or its ancient age, but the chilling stories that once haunted all of England. There was a time when rows of crowded houses and age-old churches sprang up atop the bridge, turning it into a strangely lively neighborhood. However, behind that bustle lay a darker side that not everyone knows. For centuries, this bridge was also where the might of English law was put on full display, serving as a cold warning to anyone who dared challenge the power of the monarchy. Names like William Wallace and Thomas More, once spoken with respect or awe across Europe, met the same fate, their heads placed on wooden spikes at the very entrance to London Bridge. The heads of these infamous prisoners silently faced the city as a brutal reminder of the price of defiance. Today, few tourists strolling across London Bridge and snapping photos amid the modern scenery can imagine a time when this place bore witness to blood-soaked tragedies that spanned generations. That macabre tradition only ended in 1661, but its memory lingers in the pages of history, in whispered tales of a bridge that not only connects two riverbanks, but also joins London's shadowy past with its radiant present. The Kingdom of Sabah, Solomon and the Ark of the Covenant. The Kingdom of Sabah has always fascinated archaeologists and those who love Eastern mythology, for this land is not only linked to the legend of the Queen of Sheba, but also shrouded in mysteries of wisdom, power, and sacred treasures. According to tradition, the Queen of Sheba was renowned throughout the region for her intelligence, wealth, and a pride rarely seen among ancient queens. She did not come to Jerusalem merely to pay homage to King Solomon, but also to challenge the intellect of this famed ruler. The encounter between these two remarkable figures became the beginning of a historic bond and gave rise to many legendary tales. After their meeting, legend has it that the Queen of Sheba and King Solomon had a son, Prince Menelik, who carried within him the blood of two great civilizations. When he came of age, Menelik traveled back to Jerusalem to visit his father. This journey was not only significant in reuniting father and son, but also became the setting for a shocking event. Menelik is said to have secretly taken the Ark of the Covenant from Jerusalem back to Ethiopia. Many theories suggest that the ancient palace of Dungur, with its solemn stone walls, was where Menelik lived with the Queen of Sheba, and where the Ark of the Covenant was kept for many centuries. Around the Aksumite Kingdom of Ethiopia, many other colorful legends are still told. Some believe that Ethiopia was the legendary land of Punt, which the ancient Egyptians often described as a place of abundance and mystery. There are also stories claiming that the Holy Grail, or descendants of one of the three wise men who visited Jesus, all originated in this land. There was even a time in medieval Europe when people believed Ethiopia was home to mythical creatures, such as unicorns or flying dragons, adding yet another layer of mystery to the land. The tales of the Queen of Sheba, Menelik, and the Ark of the Covenant have breathed a mythical spirit into Ethiopia, inspiring generations of historians, explorers, and history enthusiasts to endlessly search for the truth. Perhaps it is this blend of reality, religious belief, and legend that has helped this kingdom endure in the human imagination as one of the most mysterious and captivating civilizations of the ancient world. Dunor Castle. Amidst the wild cliffs of the Ayrshire coast, Dunor Castle appears like a ghost from the past, a place that once symbolized power and, at the same time, served as the setting for chilling tales that people still whisper about to this day. Though only crumbling walls and a gloomy tower remain, this castle continues to draw explorers, for its history holds not only splendor but also the cold brutality of times long gone. The name Dunor comes from an old phrase meaning fortress of the ash tree, evoking memories of a land that was once peaceful before it became the center of fierce clan rivalries. While most of the surviving architecture was built in the 15th and 16th centuries, legend has it that the castle's origins reach back as far as the 13th century. For centuries, it belonged to the Kennedy family, one of the most powerful clans in southwestern Scotland. The castle is also remembered for the presence of Mary, Queen of Scots, who visited in August 1563 during her third journey through the region, adding yet another layer of mystery to a place already shrouded in legend. However, it was the horrific events of 1570 that forever etched Dunor Castle's name in history as one of the most terrifying living prisons in Scotland. That year, the Earl of Cassilis, embroiled in a land dispute, captured the abbot of Crossraguel Abbey, stripped him of his weapons and horse, and imprisoned him in the deep, dark dungeon of the castle. For 2 days, the abbot endured torture but refused to give in. Enraged, the Earl ordered him to be tied up and roasted alive over red-hot coals. Strangely enough, despite this ordeal, the abbot survived, though he was left permanently scarred and eventually forced to sign away the land to secure his freedom. This story not only chills the spine but also helped build the air of mystery that has surrounded Dunor Castle for generations. By 1964, Dunor was little more than a pile of ruins with broken, moss-covered walls. Yet this only fueled the curiosity of those drawn to explore its secrets. It is rumored that during the civil wars, part of the castle was blown up. Evidence for this can be seen in the strangely collapsed walls. Some believe that deep beneath the ground are secret tunnels leading to nearby Greenan Castle, though to this day, no one has ever found these hidden passageways. It is these unsolved mysteries that have made Dunor an ideal stop for anyone captivated by the unknown and eager to chase after legends. The list of the first kings of humanity. Thousands of years ago, in the ancient land of Mesopotamia, the Sumerians left behind for posterity one of the most mysterious documents in human history, the list of the first kings. Engraved on stone tablets, this record tells of the kings who once ruled Sumer, with lifespans that far exceed the imagination of modern people. There were kings who are said to have lived more than 28,000 years, and in fact, the total reign of all 8 first kings amounted to over 241,000 years, a number that, compared to today's lifespans, is truly hard to believe. This mystery has fascinated archaeologists and historians for centuries because the list is not simply a record of history, but also reveals the deep Sumerian belief in supernatural powers. They believed that royal power was a gift bestowed from the heavens. According to legend, kingship descended from heaven to the land of Eridu, starting with King Alulim. From the perspective of modern people, these numbers may seem unreal, but to the Sumerians, they were proof of the divine connection between kings and the gods. Some researchers even believe that this list could be a metaphor for astronomical cycles, or a record of some ancient knowledge that we have lost over time. There are also bold theories claiming that the very first Sumerian kings might actually have been extraterrestrial beings, those legendary Anunnaki who brought humankind extraordinary knowledge and the power of immortality. The mystery grows even deeper when this list shows many similarities with other religious legends around the world, especially the Bible. Both mention a great flood that wiped out the previous civilization, and both recount stories of figures with extraordinarily long lifespans. Before the flood, the Sumerian kings ruled for tens of thousands of years, but after that, the lifespans of later kings dropped to almost the same as modern humans. Today, although scientists have studied this extensively, the line between history and mythology in the Sumerian king list remains a huge unanswered question. Was it a memory of a legendary era that has been forgotten, or just a symbol of absolute power and sacred faith in the world beyond? The answer still lies hidden in the mists of time, waiting for new discoveries from humanity. The Lost Tomb of Alexander the Great. The story of the final resting place of Alexander the Great has always been one of the greatest mysteries of ancient history. When the legendary king died suddenly in Babylon in 323 BC, his body was not only a sacred relic, but also a symbol of power that every force wanted to possess. After much struggle, Alexander's remains were brought to Memphis and then finally transferred to the city of Alexandria. Over the centuries, Alexander's tomb quickly became a famous pilgrimage site, where emperors, generals, and even the highest leaders of Rome, such as Julius Caesar and Augustus, once came to pay their respects. That tomb, according to ancient records, was known as the Soma or Sema, and it resembled a magnificent monument in the heart of a bustling city. However, through many historical upheavals, traces of the site gradually disappeared into the mists of time. As the city of Alexandria changed and grew, the once famous tomb suddenly turned into legend. For more than 2,000 years, countless scholars, archaeologists, and even amateur adventurers have embarked on the journey to find Alexander the Great's resting place. At times, people believed the tomb may have been destroyed by the violent earthquakes or tsunamis that once swept through Alexandria. There are also theories that, over the course of history, the tomb was buried beneath the rubble of the modern city, or even lies deep under the Mediterranean Sea after ancient seawalls collapsed. More fantastic legends claim that Alexander's remains may have been taken away during a war or even stolen by European merchants in the Middle Ages. What is strange is that, despite countless records describing famous figures who saw the tomb with their own eyes, no one has yet been able to pinpoint its exact location. Many excavations have taken place, and many hopes have been raised, only to fade away when the discoveries fail to provide convincing evidence. The legend of Alexander's final resting place thus still lives on in the minds of later generations as an unanswered question, reminding us that, no matter how great, all glory and power eventually fade before the mysteries of time. The Basilica System. Right beneath the bustling streets of Istanbul, a surreal and silent world stretches out underground, where shimmering light reflects on the water's surface to create a space that is both ethereal and mysterious. This is the Basilica System, one of the most magnificent subterranean structures still standing from the Roman Byzantine era. It is not only a historical relic, but also a place where art, faith, and legend converge across thousands of years. Descending the damp, cold steps, visitors feel as though they have entered an underground palace, with 336 massive stone columns rising up powerfully, each one telling its own story and bearing the mark of the thousands of slaves who built them. Under the dim lights, the columns form a vast labyrinth, giving everyone who enters the sense that they have arrived at the threshold of another world. The air inside is always calm and full of reverence, carrying with it the breath of secrets that time has not yet erased. This structure was built in the 6th century during the reign of Emperor Justinian, with the purpose of supplying water to the palace and the city's residents. Through countless historical upheavals, the Basilica System has endured, bearing witness to the rise and fall of many dynasties. Within this space, two details have always drawn people's curiosity: the inverted Medusa heads and the weeping column. Hidden deep in a corner of the cistern, two blocks carved with the famous face of Medusa are placed in a very unusual way, one on its side and one completely upside down. Some say that the builders did this intentionally to neutralize Medusa's petrifying power, protecting this sacred place from evil. This is both a legend and a unique feature steeped in Byzantine culture. But it is not just Medusa. The Basilica System is also famous for the weeping column, adorned with peacock eye motifs. According to legend, it serves as a tribute to the thousands of slaves who shed their sweat and tears to build this marvelous structure. It is said that if someone happens to touch the column, they will feel a trickle of water, as if the spirits of those long gone are still quietly reminding us of human sacrifice and aspiration throughout history. The Basilica System is not only an architectural wonder, but also a gathering place of history and strange legends. Beneath the earth of Istanbul, countless mysteries still remain, waiting for curious souls to descend and listen to the timeless story of imagination and the passage of time. 3 lost Roman military camps in the Jordanian desert. Amid the desolate deserts of Jordan, archaeologists have unexpectedly traced the remains of 3 ancient Roman military camps, thanks to modern satellite imaging technology. These camps no longer have any walls or structures rising from the sands of time. Only faint, rectangular outlines remain on the ground, like scars left over from a distant era that would be nearly impossible to notice with the naked eye. Researchers believe these are the remnants of a secret campaign that took place in the 2nd century AD, when Rome was quietly expanding its influence into territories controlled by the Nabateans. The locations of these 3 camps are spaced between 23 and 27 miles apart, just right for a day's march through the harsh desert. They were built following the familiar Roman defensive model, each camp constructed in a square layout, revealing careful planning and a clear strategic purpose. Although archaeologists have not yet been able to excavate the sites directly because of their isolated positions and the harsh natural conditions, they still believe that beneath the sand, many artifacts or evidence of military activity from the past may remain. The existence of these camps reveals a hidden chapter in the story of Roman conquest, perhaps a prelude to a larger assault as the empire gradually swallowed up resource-rich lands and gained control of the most important trade routes in the region. To this day, the story of the 3 Roman camps in the Jordanian desert remains a captivating mystery, raising many questions about the true purpose of the campaign and what really happened in this land, once known as the crossroads of ancient civilizations. Chitagar Fort, standing tall on a hilltop nearly 600 feet high. Chitagar Fort is one of the largest and most formidable ancient defensive structures in India. Seen from a distance, the entire complex appears like a miniature city, wrapped in long fortress walls that snake along the slope and overlook the vast valley below. Over nearly 2,000 years of history, this fort has retained its majestic presence, with 65 large and small structures, most notably its splendid palaces, sacred temples, and deep artificial lakes that mirror the sunlight. Every stone here seems to bear the mark of time's upheavals, especially when recalling the terrifying sieges and bloody changes of power that have unfolded on this land. Among them, the attack by King Alauddin Khalji in 1303 has gone down in history as one of the most tragic events. The siege lasted for 8 long months, during which the seemingly impenetrable walls were finally brought down by the persistence and brutality of the invading army. After his victory, Alauddin Khalji ordered the massacre of 30,000 inhabitants of the fort, turning the place into a witness of a dark chapter in Indian history. Despite countless times changing hands and rulers, Chitagar Fort still stands proud against the sky, becoming an eternal symbol of endurance, military strength, and the loyalty of generations of its people. Every tower, every palace, every lake within the fort is a reminder of a golden age of illustrious dynasties and a warning to future generations about the price of power and freedom. It is precisely the harmony between its ancient architectural beauty and dramatic historical tales that has made Chitagar a captivating destination, holding a timeless allure for all who love discovery and appreciate the legacy of the past. The ancient naval base on Salamis Island, located on the beautiful island of Salamis in the heart of the Mediterranean Sea, the recently discovered ancient naval base has not only revived memories of one of the greatest naval battles in history, but also opened a door back to the golden age of Athens, nearly 2,500 years ago. The tranquil Ambracia Bay once echoed with the sounds of war drums and the shouts of thousands of Greek sailors as the allied forces of Athens fought desperately against the mighty Persian fleet. From the massive stones and foundations buried beneath the seabed, researchers have reconstructed the image of a large-scale military base, featuring a network of sturdy fortifications, dense defensive walls, and vast docks stretching out to the water's edge. This harbor was not only the anchorage for hundreds of triremes, but was also protected by stone walls that extended all the way to the tip of the bay, with lookout posts strategically placed at the highest points. Even at high tide, parts of these walls still peak above the water's surface, hinting at the scale and advanced construction techniques of the ancient Greeks. This base served not only as the launching point for the resounding victory at the Battle of Salamis, but also stood as a symbol of the strength, prosperity, and strategic vision of Athens during its golden era. It was from here that Greek admirals and warriors gradually defeated the mighty Persian army, ushering in an era of freedom, democracy, and brilliant development that would last for centuries to come. The remains of fortifications, docks, and protective walls continue to exist quietly as witnesses to those glorious days where every generation can still sense the breath of history. This discovery not only adds another remarkable page to the history of Athens, but also reminds us of the courage, intelligence, and unity that forged victory and helped shape the face of human civilization. The lost Roman fort in Scotland. On a chilly day in the wild Scottish Highlands, archaeologists surprised the historical research community by announcing the discovery of a small Roman fort hidden for centuries along the Antonine Wall. This discovery did not come from massive excavations, but rather through advanced geophysical technology, which allowed experts to read the ancient traces still imprinted deep beneath the earth, almost as if they were following the forgotten memories of a great civilization. In the 2nd century, the Antonine Wall was more than just a defensive line. It was also a symbol of Rome's ambition to control and protect its territory against fierce resistance from the native Scottish tribes. From outposts like this small fort, Roman soldiers kept watch to the north, where dark forests and relentless cold winds always threatened sudden raids. One can imagine the Roman guards taking turns, silently observing the misty horizon day after day, all while maintaining order and sending warning signals to other forts along this formidable wall. What is remarkable is that, although only faint traces remain beneath the grass and soil, these new findings provide a vivid look at how the Romans organized an exceptionally disciplined and enduring defensive system. They not only built solid structures, but also created a network of strategic connections, allowing soldiers to support and reinforce each other in the face of danger. The story of this small fort stands as clear evidence of Rome's discipline, ingenuity, and unyielding desire to expand its borders, even though every step northward had to be paid for with countless hardships and challenges. The Barbatan mountain range. Amid the sun-drenched lands of South Africa, the Barbatan Mountains rise quietly, standing as immortal witnesses to the passage of time. This is not just a magnificent landscape, it is also one of the oldest mountain ranges on Earth. More than 3 billion years ago, when the planet's surface was still in chaos with streams of primordial lava, Barbatan emerged from the deep geological layers and became one of the very first pieces of land to rise above the original seas. At the foot of these mountains, scientists have discovered fossils of ancient microorganisms, marking the earliest signs of life on Earth. The stacked rock layers resemble a silent epic, recording every change and upheaval the Earth has experienced over billions of years. It is believed that it was here in Barbatan where life first took root, overcoming countless challenges. Beyond its immense scientific value, this mountain range was also the starting point for one of South Africa's greatest gold rushes. In the late 19th century, tales of a massive gold vein discovered within Barbatan drew thousands of adventurers and dreamers seeking their fortune. Some grew rich overnight, while others lost everything forever, leaving behind footprints and legends that linger along the winding trails. Over time, Barbatan became known not just for its gold mines, but for a series of mysterious tales as well. Local people tell of strange sounds echoing through the night, and vehicles that suddenly stall on mountain roads for no apparent reason. Some seasoned miners even swear they have seen shadowy figures slipping behind the rocks or felt a chill in the air despite the sweltering heat. All of this has given Barbatan a reputation as a sacred place, where reality and the spirit world seem to blend together. Today, though the gold rush has faded into history, the Barbatan Mountains continue to draw visitors with their wild beauty and deep sense of history. Tours of the old gold mines, museums displaying ancient fossils, and the mystical atmosphere that blankets the forests and peaks all leave visitors with a sense of awe and wonder. Barbatan is not just a destination for explorers. It is a place that holds countless untold stories about the origins of life, fortune, and the enduring mysteries that still linger within the ancient layers of stone, passing from one generation to the next. The Beast of Jevodon. 18th century France was famous for its peaceful villages, where people lived quiet lives among green fields and lush forests. However, that peaceful picture was completely shattered when the Jevodon region, a remote countryside in the south of the country, was engulfed in fear by the appearance of a mysterious creature never before seen in history. No one knew where it came from or why, only that the terror of the Beast of Jevodon covered every small village, every forest path, and crept into the dreams of the people. Everything began during the hot summer days of 1764, when a young girl herding sheep was attacked right on the pasture. Soon after, a series of disappearances took place. All the victims were poor farmers or children, and their bodies were usually found savagely mauled. In just a few years, the number of deaths reached more than 100. This was an unprecedented number. Survivors described the creature as being larger than any wolf, with reddish-grey fur, a tail as long as a leopard's, and strange black stripes on its back. Some victims were even found without their heads, making the fear in the villages spread wider and turning it into an obsession throughout France. These were not just ordinary wild animal attacks. The brutality and boldness of the Beast of Jevodon made it a topic of conversation from the countryside to the big cities. In this desperate situation, local people began to fight back. Groups of hunters appeared, searching throughout the mountains and forests, hoping to destroy the source of terror. The stories of the bravery of small children and women who refused to surrender to fate became legends. Even King Louis XV could not stand aside. The king sent his most famous royal hunters and well-trained soldiers to assist. A giant wolf was once killed, and its body was brought back to the capital to be displayed as a great victory. However, that joy did not last long, as the attacks continued and became even more mysterious. People began to wonder if there might be more than one beast hiding in the forests of Jevodon, or whether it possessed powers and intelligence far beyond an ordinary wolf. To this day, the mystery of the animal that brought terror to an entire rural region of France still has no truly convincing explanation. Some believe it was just an unusually large mutated wolf. Others think of a lion or a stray hyena that escaped from traveling circuses of that era. Some bold theories suggest the Beast of Jevodon was an unusual hybrid between wild predators or even the shape of a werewolf from folklore. Though it has been described, speculated about, and hunted for centuries, the true identity of this creature remains a great question mark. The Tower of Silence of the Zoroastrians. Hidden deep within the deserts of Iran are ancient structures whose very name evokes an air of mystery. The Tower of Silence of the Zoroastrians. These towers were once the center of a funeral ritual that spanned 3,000 years, and even into the final decades of the 20th century, echoes of this tradition could still be felt. In the belief of the Zoroastrians, the human body after death becomes vulnerable to evil spirits and malevolent forces. They believed that burying the dead, cremating them with fire, or letting them drift on water would defile the sacred elements of the universe. Therefore, when a person died, the body was carried to the top of the tower and left there for flocks of vultures to complete nature's final task. Under the burning sun and desert winds, birds would circle above, gently cleansing the body until only white bones remained. Afterward, the bones were collected, placed in an urn, and kept in a discreet place, separate from the earth itself, as a way to preserve purity for both the living and the dead. For thousands of years, this practice was not only a part of religious faith, but also became a symbol of a philosophy that valued harmony with nature and absolute respect for the laws of life and death. The Tower of Silence was not simply a place to say farewell to the departed, but a boundary between the earthly world and eternity, a place where people placed their trust in purity and the endless cycle of reincarnation. The city of Armageddon and the military camp. On the arid land of the Jezreel Valley, where the sunlight stretches endlessly over low hills and yellowed fields, the city of Armageddon once stood as one of the most powerful historical and religious anchors in the Middle East. Armageddon, also known as Megiddo, is not only a place name on the archaeological map, but is also closely tied to biblical prophecies about humanity's final battle. For many generations of Jews, Christians, and even secular scholars, this place has always carried a mythical aura and harbors countless unsolved mysteries. Not long ago, as archaeologists began to excavate layers of earth and stone covered by the dust of ages, they made a surprising discovery: a unique Roman military arena. This was not a grand plaza or an arena for famous gladiator contests, but a compact structure with circular walls and simple stands, built mainly for the purposes of training, recreation, and maintaining morale among the soldiers stationed at this frontier outpost. Far from home and the bustling cities of the Mediterranean, the Roman soldiers created their own world right here, in a land that was considered a crossroads of civilizations and one of the most turbulent places of the ancient world. Looking at the remains of the arena, one can imagine the lively days of the past, when Roman soldiers gathered here to participate in training battles, team games, and even skillful and powerful competitions designed to foster unity and fighting spirit in this foreign land. It was here that military and daily life merged, creating a tightly organized but also deeply challenging community, where homesickness weighed heavily on each soldier's shoulders. What makes Armageddon even more remarkable is the intersection between reality and legend. Beneath this earth lie not only traces of Roman military presence, but also the foundation of Christian apocalyptic traditions, as this is the very place prophesied to be the meeting point for the final battle, deciding the fate of humankind. For that reason, whenever Armageddon is mentioned, people recall not only the bloody battles of antiquity, but also reflect on a shadowy future that humanity has long feared and pondered. Today, standing amidst the ruins of Armageddon, under the burning sun of Israel, many still feel overwhelmed by the convergence of past and present. This ancient city is like an open book, reminding us of the existence of great civilizations, of the fate of soldiers who once lived and fought on distant frontiers, and above all, of the beliefs that have created legends enduring through time. The mysterious Egyptian civilization in the Grand Canyon. The Grand Canyon, with its breathtaking beauty and a history stretching back millions of years, has always been filled with legendary stories that go far beyond the limits of imagination. One of the most intriguing legends tied to this gorge is the theory that an ancient Egyptian civilization once existed deep beneath the surface of the Grand Canyon. The story begins in 1909, when the Arizona Gazette published a report about a mysterious expedition led by two men named Kincaid and Jordan, who were said to be working for the Smithsonian Institution. According to the account, these two explorers discovered a massive cave perched on a cliffside, containing a maze of underground tunnels, with large chambers connected by wide corridors wide enough for carts to pass through. What was astonishing was that, in the heart of the Grand Canyon, they found countless artifacts from different origins: bronze weapons, grain jars, and statues crafted in the Egyptian style, as well as items showing signs of Eastern Buddhist influence. This remarkable variety fueled the theory that the site was once home to a city of up to 50,000 people. However, as worldwide curiosity about the discovery grew, the story began to show more and more signs of doubt. No archaeological evidence has ever been found to support the existence of such a cave system, and no one has been able to confirm the true identities of the two explorers. In the Smithsonian's records, Kincaid and Jordan do not appear at all. Even the exact location of the cave remains an unsolved mystery, leaving the story confined to old newspaper clippings and endless debates. For more than a century, the legend of the Egyptian city beneath the Grand Canyon has continued to circulate and evolve, becoming one of America's most famous conspiracy theories. Countless other ideas have been woven around it, from secret entrances to parallel dimensions, to claims that it was once home to mysterious beings like the lizard people mentioned in Los Angeles folklore. Even though modern science has never been able to confirm any of it, the Grand Canyon remains a land of mystery, a place where reality and legend walk side by side, continuing to spark the imagination of generations of explorers. The interdimensional gateway at Uraka Mountain. Hidden deep within the vast deserts of New Mexico, Uraka Mountain stands as a mysterious landmark on the map of America. More than just a flat-topped mountain, this place has been at the center of countless legendary tales for thousands of years, stories that neither indigenous peoples nor modern explorers have ever been able to fully explain. Since ancient times, the base of Uraka Mountain has been considered sacred ground by many native tribes, such as the Navajo, Apache, and Anasazi. Here, every generation has passed down stories about strange phenomena said to occur on the mountain's summit. It is told that an Anasazi tribe once lived peacefully in these mountains, but one day, they vanished completely without a trace. Folklore still holds that a fierce battle took place atop Uraka between humans and mysterious beings that emerged from beneath the earth. These entities were described as evil, possessing supernatural powers strong enough to make an entire tribe disappear as if they had never existed. Such legends have woven an eerie and fascinating theory that Uraka Mountain contains a gateway to another world, a place where people can accidentally step through and never return. Some believe it was by opening this gateway that the entire Anasazi culture vanished from the earth, leaving behind a gap in history that can never be filled. This theory gains even more weight with the repeated discovery of abandoned Anasazi villages across the American Southwest, all dating to the same period, as if the entire community left this world at once, heading somewhere no one knows. But the legends are not just relics of the past. Today, Uraka Mountain continues to be a hotspot for unexplainable phenomena. Many visitors have recounted feeling a chill up their spine when standing on the summit at night. Some claim to have seen a strange blue-green streak of light cutting across the sky, widening into what looked like a glowing doorway. The streak would appear for only a moment before fading, leaving behind darkness and a sense that something otherworldly had just touched the earth. For decades, there have been repeated reports of mysterious disappearances here, often involving children or people on camping trips. Scoutmasters have vanished without a trace, despite extensive search efforts over many days. Other visitors tell of seeing shadowy figures dressed in traditional clothing, or the faint image of a young boy wandering among the trees. No one has been able to truly explain what is happening at Uraka Mountain. For local people, this will always be a sacred land, a fragile boundary between the real world and the realm of mystery. For modern researchers, Uraka remains a center for unexplained phenomena that have yet to find any satisfying answer. Does this place truly contain a gateway to another world, or is it simply a mirror reflecting the fears and imagination of those who face the unknown? Perhaps this question will continue to haunt those who love to explore mysteries for generations to come. The forgotten ancient Amazon civilization. For decades, the Amazon rainforest was considered an untouchable realm of nature, a place meant only for small communities living by hunting and gathering. Scientists once believed that, with its harsh, humid climate and nutrient-poor soil, the Amazon could never sustain complex societies or large cities like those found in the deltas or highlands of South America. However, all those assumptions have been completely overturned thanks to advances in modern LiDAR scanning technology. Researchers used airborne laser pulses to penetrate the dense canopy and reveal secrets hidden beneath the Amazon's vast green blanket. The surprising results showed evidence of a vast urban civilization that thrived about 1,500 years ago, known as the Carave civilization. The LiDAR scans uncovered a system of cities interconnected by highway-like roads stretching for miles, clay pyramids rising above the jungle, as well as terraced structures, large residential areas, and a sophisticated network of canals. All of this demonstrates a level of technical skill and social organization far beyond what was previously imagined for ancient Amazonian inhabitants. What's more, the cities of the Carave were not just isolated structures, but part of a carefully planned urban network, connected by roads and public works such as plazas, temples, and docks. They knew how to make use of high ground along rivers to prevent flooding, transform floodplains into farmland, and build using mud bricks and local materials. Their complex canal systems were designed not only for irrigation but also to control the living environment, allowing thousands of people to live stably in the heart of the rainforest. Despite once being a thriving civilization, all of these grand achievements were eventually swallowed up by time and the encroaching jungle. Over the centuries, every trace became hidden by trees, making these ancient cities fade into obscurity, almost disappearing from history. Only with modern technology have scientists been able to recognize the faint outlines of pyramids, roads, and giant canals within the endless green. This discovery has rewritten our understanding of Amazonian history, proving that this region was once the cradle of a complex, creative, and powerful society beyond anything previously imagined. The verified biblical city, Zenoa. In the midst of Israel's ancient land, the present-day village of Zenoa appears unassuming, yet it holds a secret that could change the way we look at history and the stories of the Bible. The name Zenoa brings to mind not just a modern village, but also stands as a symbol for an ancient city, mentioned numerous times in the pages of the Bible, a landmark considered crucial in the Jewish people's journey to the Promised Land. In recent years, archaeologists have conducted extensive excavations beneath the ground of Zenoa, continuously uncovering priceless ruins. They have found solid stone walls, numerous pottery fragments, and artifacts dating back as far as 3,200 years. These findings not only prove that a community once lived here in ancient times, but also align in a remarkable way with the period described in the Bible when the Israelites left Egypt and reached the Promised Land. According to Scripture, after 40 years of wandering in the desert, the Jewish people arrived in this region and founded many new cities, with Zenoa being named as one of the earliest settlements of the tribe of Judah. The discovery of archaeological remains that match both the timeline and the locations recorded in ancient texts has left scholars astonished. These are no longer just oral stories or religious writings, they have become facts, verified by artifacts and by the very layers of earth beneath Israel. The findings at Zenoa have become some of the clearest evidence supporting the story of the Exodus, the great migration of the Jewish people out of Egypt, as not just a legend or spiritual symbol, but as a real part of human history. This discovery not only verifies the historical value of the ancient cities mentioned in the Bible, but also opens a new path for archaeology in the search for legendary sites that were once thought not to exist. It revives the belief that behind every old story and every ancient page, there may be a hidden reality that humanity is only now beginning to uncover. Those ancient stones and broken pottery shards are telling us a history that has never faded, a great journey of faith, hope, and the enduring will to survive through generations. The man from a parallel universe. In 1954, Haneda Airport in Tokyo suddenly became the center of one of the strangest events ever recorded in modern history. A well-dressed man, carrying himself with the calm confidence of an international businessman, stepped off a plane and proceeded through immigration just like any other passenger. But when he presented his passport to customs officials, he threw the entire airport security force into a state of utter confusion. His passport was from Taured, a country that simply did not exist on any map of the world. The man confidently insisted that he was from Taured, describing it as a nation located between France and Spain. When the immigration officers pointed to the region of Andorra on the map, he became visibly more confused, insisting that his homeland had existed for hundreds of years. No one could verify his identity, as all the documents he carried listed a country no one had ever heard of. In an effort to clarify the truth, Japanese authorities decided to detain the man in a hotel room under strict guard while they conducted further investigations. However, after just one night, he vanished completely without a trace. The windows were tightly locked, there were no emergency exits, and the guards all swore they had never taken their eyes off the room. The incident quickly spread, becoming a hot topic among those fascinated by theories of parallel universes and unsolved mysteries. Some believe the man from Taured was, in fact, a traveler passing between dimensions who accidentally slipped into our world where his country never existed. Others are convinced it was nothing more than an elaborate hoax, possibly inspired by notorious cases of passport forgery in later years, such as the story of John Allen Kincaid, a man who traveled through several countries in the 1960s using a fake passport bearing the name of a non-existent nation. Whether the result of pure imagination, a bold scam, or genuine evidence for the existence of parallel universes, the story of the man from Taured remains a profound mystery, one that continues to challenge the limits of human understanding. The buried pyramid at Saqqara, in the heart of Egypt's sun-drenched desert, where relentless sand winds continually cover the traces of ancient times, there exists a mystery that time itself seems reluctant to reveal. This is the buried pyramid of Saqqara, a structure named Sekemket, built more than 4,600 years ago. At that time, pyramids were still a new concept, marking the transition from simple mud brick tombs to the eternal symbols of power for the pharaohs. Yet for thousands of years, no one knew of this pyramid's existence until 1951, when the Egyptologist Zakaria Gonaim stumbled upon it while surveying other ruins nearby. Hidden beneath a thick layer of sand, the structure appeared with a modest height of only about 5 meters and a base 18 meters wide, set in the middle of the vast desert. Clearly, this was an unfinished project, abandoned before completion, as if something had halted the hands of the ancient builders. When archaeologists began to open a passage to the pyramid's center, they discovered a massive sarcophagus carved from a single block of stone, with the lid standing upright. Anticipation grew as everyone waited to see one of the oldest royal mummies ever uncovered. But all hopes were quickly dashed when the inside of the sarcophagus was found completely empty, without a single trace of a mummy. Stranger still, valuable objects such as gold and jewelry were left untouched, exactly where they had been placed. Why did the body disappear while the treasures remained? What caused this grand structure to be abandoned mid-construction, and who had opened the sarcophagus before? These questions continue to puzzle scientists. After Zakaria Gonaim died under suspicious circumstances in 1959, the Sekemket pyramid gradually faded from memory. Though archaeological teams have returned from time to time, to this day it remains one of the greatest secrets that ancient Egypt has left for future generations. The ancient gate to the heavens. Amid the legendary lands of Sri Lanka, surrounded by lush gardens and traces of ancient dynasties, a mysterious stone gateway has quietly captivated the curiosity of the world for decades. The Rasu Uyana Gate is unlike any other structure known to man. On its perfectly flat stone surface, strange symbols are carved in precise rows, an intricate code left behind by a civilization long lost to the shadows of time. According to local legend, this gateway is not just an ancient relic, but a meeting point between the earthly world and the cosmos. Many believe that Rasu Uyana is a portal to another realm, a place where souls can leave the body and journey to distant reaches among the stars. Some theories suggest that these mysterious carvings are messages from extraterrestrials who once visited Earth, or perhaps even a map for those daring enough to cross the boundary between reality and illusion. Several modern researchers, while cautious, still cannot deny the uncanny resemblance between the motifs of this heavenly gate and ancient drawings found in far-flung civilizations. Even as modern science has explained many of humanity's great mysteries, when it comes to the Rasu Uyana Gate, all that remains are theories and awe. For those who believe in life beyond Earth, this is among the most vivid pieces of evidence for the hypothesis that extraterrestrial intelligence may have intervened in the progress of humanity. And for visitors and spiritual seekers alike, simply standing before the moss-covered stone gate and listening to the wind as it sweeps across those mysterious lines is enough to feel the deep tremor of the universe, as if one is stepping closer to the final frontier of knowledge and imagination. Hitler's anti-gravity flying saucer. During the chaotic years of World War II, amid rumors of secret weapons and the Nazi ambition to conquer the world, a legend emerged that caused a sensation not only in military circles, but also spread worldwide for decades afterward. It was the story of Hitler's anti-gravity flying saucer, a mysterious object shaped like a giant bell, rumored to be the product of both the genius and daring of German scientists at that time. According to unofficial sources, this device was called Die Glock and was developed in top-secret underground laboratories of the Nazi regime. More than just an ordinary flying craft, Die Glock was described as capable of defying all physical limits, even enabling time travel, instant teleportation, and possessing unimaginable energy. Conspiracy enthusiasts believe that this was part of a plan to create a wonder weapon that would allow Hitler to reverse the course of the war. Some researchers even think that, thanks to these advanced technological secrets, the wave of UFO sightings reported in America after the war all bore the features of Die Glock, as if these secrets had fallen into the hands of other world powers. However, when historical documents are carefully analyzed, there is no real evidence to confirm the existence of this anti-gravity saucer. The stories about Die Glock mostly originate from books published after the war and oral accounts, rather than from official military records. Some scholars suggest that the entire legend is simply the result of collective imagination, a mix of post-war obsession with Nazi power and fascination with the supernatural. Modern theories connect Die Glock to secret military projects and incredible physics experiments, but in the end, all evidence remains inconclusive. Yet, the appeal of this story has never faded. Even though the line between fact and fiction is razor-thin, the image of a flying saucer that can bend time still appears regularly in research papers, movies, and countless stories passed down across the world. Perhaps it is just a product of wartime imagination, or perhaps it is a genuine secret that was carefully hidden. But whatever the truth may be, Hitler's anti-gravity flying saucer remains one of the most intriguing legends of the 20th century, raising unanswered questions about the boundary between science and myth in human history. The legendary Greek city, Tena. If you have ever been fascinated by the stories of Greek mythology, you are probably no stranger to the cities that appear in these legends, places where legendary heroes once lived, fought, and wrote everlasting chapters of history. Among them, Tena stands out as a symbol of mystery and turmoil, a city that exists both as a real entity in ancient stories and is shrouded by the mist of time. Behind the long journey to uncover traces of Tena, people cannot help but mention the perseverance of archaeologist Eleni Kora, the woman who spent over 40 years of her life pursuing the dream of illuminating the fate of a city that seemed to exist only in legend. According to legend, Tena was not an ordinary city, but was built by prisoners from Troy after the Trojan War ended. These were people who overcame pain and suffering to create a new center, a place where many different cultures came together, and the birthplace of many mythological stories, the most famous being the legend of King Oedipus. Later generations referred to Tena as the homeland of one of the most tragic figures of ancient Greece, the place where events began that would shake both mythology and history. However, for centuries, no one could say for sure whether Tena really existed or was just the creation of storytellers. It was not until Eleni Kora and her colleagues discovered archaeological remains hidden under the valleys and desolate fields of the Peloponnese that the veil of mystery began to lift. They found ancient house foundations, stone-paved roads, bronze artifacts, and old Greek coins, all of which pointed to the existence of a city that was once very prosperous, crowded, and thriving. What was remarkable was that the findings matched exactly the descriptions in the legends, from the geographical location to the architectural style and the everyday objects of the ancient residents. Confirming that Tena really existed not only helps reconnect the thread between legend and reality, but also enriches the historical map of ancient Greece. However, the mystery of the city's disappearance only makes it even more fascinating. There was a time when Tena was a prosperous, crowded, and wealthy center of the region, but somehow, the entire city seemed to disappear from history, with no residents left behind, no remarkable traces except for the ruins buried underground. Theories have been put forward that Tena may have been destroyed by invaders, or that later generations dismantled the ancient buildings to construct new villages, causing all memory of this great city to survive, only in stories passed down through generations. The appearance of Tena on the archaeological map is not just proof of the power of legend, but a vivid illustration that history and mythology can intertwine, complement, and enrich each other. These discoveries urge us to continue searching, to keep listening to the voices from the past, because who knows, behind every legend there may still be countless truths waiting to be uncovered. If you found these mysterious stories fascinating, please leave your thoughts below, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you won't miss any of our upcoming discoveries. See you in the next video.